Hello, racers, and welcome back to yet another episode of Race in Review. And this is a special episode because, as you might be seeing if you watch the YouTube or the Spotify video version of the show, it's a three-man show today. So, without further ado, I'm just going to say my name is John. I'll be your host today. We'll talk shortly about Spain, but we'll mostly be talking about the Canada Grand Prix and our predictions for the Austria Grand Prix. But let's first say hi to the best, well, the man with the best hair in the business. It's none other than James Hazel. Hey, James, welcome back.
Hello, how's it going?
It's good now. Well, we missed one show, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which was 100% due to me.
Yeah, but valid reason, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
So thank you for all the messages, and sorry we haven't been there, but we're back now, and we'll make up for it, I promise. And what's best to make up for it? If you look at the other side of the screen, he's wearing orange. He's wearing a McLaren kit. Can't say the Ferrari Red Bull needed another contender on this show, James. But it's time for introducing our new host at the show. Hey, Graeme. Homer, how you doing, my friend?
Not bad. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Welcome. Good to have you. For people that don't know you, which well, you haven't only listened to this show, people will probably not know you. Who are you? Where are you from? And why are you wearing the McLaren top?
So I'm Graeme. Originally from Scotland, but I now stay in Northern Ireland. Reason why I'm wearing McLaren is basically due to my papa. He introduced me to F1. Being Scottish at the time, David Coulthard had driven for McLaren, so just this stems from there, really.
You know, he drove for Red Bull as well, right?
But that was late in his career.
Well, we do have like a good little rivalry going on there. Welcome on the show, my friend. I see a certain can of, Monster Energy drink there. We're not sponsored by him, but it says Landon Norris.
Yep.
It's not an original joke anymore, but I expected that to come in a bottle. I still find it funny. I'm so sorry about that.
As I said before, Lando's doing enough to make himself the butt of all the jokes at the moment.
Yeah, well, and I guess I also understand why it's in a can, because, can buckle a lot easier under pressure. Sorry, James. Sorry, had to be done, my friend. Well, we missed the show, so this show is going to be a little bit more, less aligned than usually. We are going to not stick to the schedule, but I'm just going to ask you guys some questions which you can comment on. Let's start with the Canada Grand Prix. Or let's start with Spain Grand Prix. The most talking point about that one was, of course, Max Verstappen driving into the side of George Russell. And my first question of today is, I'm going to ask you both, starting with James. Does Max actually have to deserve a race ban for this?
I don't think he deserves a race ban. I think he deserved a black flag for that race. I think if it was any other series than F1, the driver would have got a black flag. And I think if it was any other driver than Max Verstappen, or not any other driver, but somebody lower down, they'd have got a black flag for that. I think they'd have got a harsher punishment than what Max got.
Graeme, I saw you were a little bit more on the Max side this side. What do you think?
James said is right there. If it was a lower driver, if it was another series, it probably would have been a black flag. But I'm a bit more lenient because I can see where he's sort of coming from. I can see I don't think he fully intentioned to hit George. I think he was trying to let George go, but as soon as he seen the first bit of George past him, he was going to go and attack him again. He wasn't for giving that space, the place back up. So I think a lot of people are looking at it as too much black and white, and there's a little bit more grey in that aspect. That I said, I think he really wanted just to let George have the place, but the minute you go in front of me, I'm going for you, and it just backfired.
Yeah. Plus, I guess it didn't help with his engineer saying, "Let him pass" and such, and which definitely wasn't needed, right?
No, not at all.
Well, it wasn't, but I think they were just playing it cautious because they can't ask for direction from race control anymore, can they? There was a time when Charlie Whiting was around when they'd radio up and say, what do we need to do here? And he would say, if you just give the position back, it's fine. They can't do any of that anymore. So I think they were just second-guessing a bit and playing it safe because it's probably better to do that than take a 5-second or 10-second penalty if that's what it ended up being. But My stance really is there's just no excuse for using your car to hit another driver. And I think if he was letting the position go and then taking it back, like it is in the rules now that you can't attack immediately, isn't it? Because they kind of clamped down a bit on that after like Jeddah 2021 and stuff like that, where they were being very tactical about where to let a driver through and doing it so that they then get DRS advantage and take the position back with DRS immediately. So I don't know. I think it was just a bad look for Max and a bit of a bad look for the sport in general. I think that day, the way it ended. I know tempers were high. It was very heated, but I still don't think
So was the temperature.
yeah, I don't think it's an excuse. If someone's like that and they can get away with it, there's not really any incentive for them not to do it again. So
Yeah, brings Max to 11 points before the Canada Grand Prix started, which brings me to our next question. Was he the only one who expected fireworks when George was having the pole position at Canada with Max next to him? James.
I wasn't expecting fireworks just because of the point situation. Max is thinking about a championship and he's still ahead of his championship rivals on the grid. George Russell's not in the fight for the championship. If he gets a win, he gets a win. Who cares? I don't think Max is worried about that. So I think any other day he'd have gone for the win. But thinking about his points, I think it was probably a bit reserved. But
that was some clean start.
It was. Both. I mean, he put himself in that position with what happened in Spain and his point situation that he's kind of acquired over the last year. But yeah, I think that was just entirely down to not getting a race ban and not caring about the fact that Russell was the person in the lead and not Piastri or Lando.
Graeme, how disappointed were you by the start of this race?
Very disappointed, but it's just one of the things, isn't it? You can't have it your own way all the time. Sometimes you just have to get on with what happens. But like James says, that Max is clearly just thinking points sitting there, that's a noose around his neck. Just keep it calm, keep it collected, try and do the best on the actual track. His whole comments during the weekend's press was, I'm done with this situation, don't want to think about it, I'm just focusing, head down. So I wasn't really expecting fireworks either, just anticipating him just trying to get a pole, got second, and just get as much points as possible, keep that gap close with Oscar.
Yeah. No, I agree. I expected, I hoped for a little bit more, but as a Max fan, I was very happy with the end result. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, he still finished second. He gained points on Oscar. He gained a lot of points on Lando, which we're going to get to, I'm sure. But all in all, it ended up being a really good weekend for him. So can't really complain, can he?
No, I think this was a good weekend, which brings me to the next topic. And let's ask this one first to the one wearing the McLaren shirt. Graeme, is the McLaren dominance over after these two races?
Don't know yet. Everybody claimed it was going to be over with the new TDs, and then obviously
then they drove away in Spain with everything.
Exactly. So not every track's got to every car. We know that. So we'll just have to wait and see. Like, the new upgrades didn't seem to be great for Lando, so we just need to wait and see, basically.
James?
Well, you kind of know.
You never said there was a dominance.
You kind of know my stance on this. I mean, Graeme just kind of covered it as well. No car suits every track, and McLaren is a fast car, but it's still, it probably is the fastest car over a season, but it's not guaranteed to be the fastest car at every circuit. We know that, and yeah, I think it was just a rough weekend for them in general, wasn't it? Things didn't go very well, and obviously the end of the race kind of exploded somewhat in Lando's front wing. But yeah, it was just I I don't think the dominance is over because I don't think the dominance was completely there to begin with. I know they are, like I said, fastest car probably overall, but not every circuit. And that's what I kind of said at the start of the season as well. Is that I think that's how this is pretty much exactly how I thought the season was going to go. Like the gaps have closed to the point where some races you're going to get like this weekend in Canada, or sorry, last week, or the last race at Canada, with Mercedes just coming out of nowhere, getting pole, getting the win, Kimmy getting, a great result. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not dominating, but they are fast.
Yeah, well, they definitely win the World Constructors
They're
Championship.
going to win the Constructors' Championship, but if nothing else, they've got consistency because, like we saw when Red Bull had an off track, I think Max finished like 7th, wasn't it, in China or something like that? McLaren have an off track and they finish just outside the podium. And that this is actually the first race this season where we haven't had at least one McLaren on the podium. So
Yeah.
When they suffer, they just don't suffer as bad.
True. But what about Mercedes? Are they back for good now, James? Because they've been looking good the last couple of races.
They're not back for good. That's my thought, at least. I don't think so. They had a good result, but
I'll get to Ferrari, by the way. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I'm fully anticipating that one. Mercedes have historically been good at Canada, and reasonably good at Austria, which we're going to next. So they are going to look like they're on a good run, but I don't think they've turned everything around just yet. I think like when we get to Baku or somewhere like that, I think they're going to really struggle. Yeah, what's after Austria? It's Great Britain, isn't it? So
Yep.
Obviously
they always look good there, though.
They won there fantastically at the car in the hands of Lewis Hamilton last year. I'm still living off that win.
Oh, you don't see that at your face at all? No.
Will they do as well this year? Who knows? I mean, a lot of that came down to the weather, didn't it? But yeah, Mercedes are not back for good. I mean, Hamilton might be looking at what's happening and thinking, well, they've got a race win, which I suppose he's won a sprint race, but I don't think he'll be looking at it and being too disappointed.
He was very disappointed by hitting I would say a hamster, but it's not a hamster. But I don't know what it's called actually in English.
Oh,
Groundhog.
Yeah, Groundhog. That was it that he hit.
A groundhog.
Groundhog Day for Hamilton.
That was his best comment. Like you drove 7 seconds behind your teammate. Actually, a pretty poor race, I guess. Pretty poor weekend overall. And then, like, are you disappointed? Well, not in my driving, but I'm disappointed in hitting the groundhog.
Yeah.
That's the experience, the Ferrari experience, James.
It's the Ferrari curse, really, isn't it? But yeah.
Well, ask this question to Homer then, because I think Graeme is the perfect guy to answer this. How would you look forward to seeing Christian Horner at Ferrari?
It'd be an interesting one.
Please, no. Please.
I don't think he'll get the job, though. I think Kaletta's work in the endurance series will see him probably get the nod first.
Yeah, they did great at Le Mans. Oh, wait, they actually did not.
Because they got car 50 was disqualified, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they got second and third. Third and fourth, I think, Ferrari. The non-factory team won, of course, with Kubica. But unfortunately, car number 50 got disqualified by running an illegal wing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that they did Ferrari things with the Le Mans series as well this time around. And I don't think that's a great example to set when you go to Formula One as a principal. And I feel pretty weird though, and I'll let you guys discuss this about Vasseur actually having to drop out of Ferrari already. Those discussions are going. It's not the first time Ferrari isn't hit straight from the bat off, right, Graeme?
It's a weird one that I thought they'd give him a good go at it, especially with the new changes coming in, the new rules. But they obviously want success and they want it now. But it's been how long since they won a series now. So obviously the Elkin, he's taken over from the Agnellis as the main man in pretty much all the aspects now. So he just obviously doesn't like Vasseur. Like let's say he wants success, he wants it now, and he's just not getting it. So
Yeah, James. I see you winking a lot, shaking a lot in anger, maybe.
I mean, my main anger now is you suggesting Christian Horner becomes the team principal of Ferrari. Because,
well, it's not my suggestion.
well, not your
you go to your Sky Sports
you
reporters
just reminded me of that rumor and that yeah, because I would absolutely hate to see that because I am not Christian Horner's biggest fan by any stretch. I would be surprised if Vasseur is dropped, personally. I know there's a lot of rumours flying around. Or maybe I wouldn't be surprised, but because it is Ferrari after all, and Ferrari, they do this, don't they? They make bad decisions, and I think it would be a bad decision to drop him. I think the problem they have is that they've spent a lot of money on a contract for Lewis Hamilton. They've obviously got Leclerc as an amazing talent who's sort of been wasted in Ferrari at the moment. And they just want to deliver because they have got a lineup capable of winning both titles in Formula One. They just don't have the car to do it. I think so. I think the problem
is not just the car, though. Unfortunately, in my honest opinion,
well, it is mainly the car. I mean,
it's also the communication between the engineers and the drivers. The strategy. The only thing that's really good at Ferrari currently are the pit stops. They're the fastest every single week.
I mean, there's a bit of that, and that's always been a thing. But I think Charles and his engineer get on relatively well. Yes, they sometimes have little back and forths about what they're actually going to do during a race, but I think overall they're okay. I think Lewis is not settling in very well with his engineer, but I think the problem is you've got to remember Lewis did the same with Bonner, like with questioning what Bonner was suggesting, getting angry when they like pit him, and Lewis is like, why have you pitted me for this and why have you done that? Like that is part of Lewis's like personality in the car. He does seem to get easily frustrated and rattled when when he thinks things aren't going the way that he wants them to, or if he can't quite see the bigger picture potentially. But I think going back to the potential team principal change, I think first of all they've got a massive investment in that they've been hiring a lot of new people, a lot of new staff. They've obviously signed Lewis to a massive contract, and I'm trying to think of another sport analogy, but I haven't really got one. But the lineup they've currently got is like a win now driver lineup. It's not like we're building to something in 3 years' time. Lewis Hamilton's in the twilight of his career at the moment. You can't be like building towards something with Hamilton in 2 years' time because he's probably retired by then or retiring. So this is like a win now driver lineup.
They're the opposite of Aston Martin, except for the drivers.
Yeah. The problem is the problem as well is they've signed Lewis onto this massive deal, but he's a big fan of Vasseur, and I don't think he wants to see Vasseur leave. So they may be stuck between a rock and a hard place with this massive investment in Lewis, and they don't want to upset him. I
think he's already upset.
Well, he is upset. But the other thing is, I feel like they're at the point now where they've just got to let it play out and hope that what's actually happening in the background is leading to something good for 2026. And I suspect that's a big part of why Lewis moved, is because he's looking at the 2026 regs and not this year. Yeah. It's not looking good at Ferrari, but
it's just 14 more races.
I know, but my opinion is don't drop Vasseur just yet, because I think he is a good principal. I think he is good for the team. I think he is building a good team, and what's most important is morale in the team, I think. And if that's high, don't rock the boat for the sake of it, because they're not winning a race right now.
I mean, I agree. I think Graham's McLaren show that's the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Keep morale high, and once the car hits, you're flying.
Yeah, I mean, look where McLaren were this time last year, or maybe a
Oh,
little
not
bit
this time
earlier.
last year. They were on the way back already, but
Maybe
started
I
last
was
year.
just going to say maybe a little bit earlier than this time last year, but this started the season looking horrendous, and then they turned it around. And I've said this a couple of times now on the podcast that things can change very quickly in Formula One. It can be a rare event sometimes. Some seasons it just plays out the way it starts, but sometimes things can change, and that's kind of the beauty of it. You can't necessarily predict the next 5 races based on the last 5 races. So
True. Talk about that though. Wrong button. You see that happens for me as well. It's been a while. Qualification. Are we seeing the best Formula One qualifications ever this season? Every single race, it's super tight. I think there was 8/10 between number 1 and the number 12 or something this week. Graeme, Formula One Saturdays are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, better than some of the races at the moment. A lot of races have been sort of straightforward, so the qualies have been just amazing for competitiveness. When was the last time we actually had so many teams that could put a car around pole? Because we've had the Red Bull dominance, Mercedes dominance. Now we've got an era where there's 4 or 5 different teams that could really put somebody on first place. Now it's been great.
Yeah. It's James, anything to add there, or is it just watch every single Saturday, please?
just watch it. Yeah, it is fantastic. I think Spain was the biggest gap we've had so far.
1/10.
No, it was a couple of tenths, wasn't it? Because Piastri put in an amazing pole.
True. That is true. Yeah.
But that was the biggest gap we've had so far, and that when we're predicted McLaren might drop back a little bit because of the technical directive, and it obviously didn't pan out that way.
2/10. It was
2 tenths. That's the biggest gap so far. That's pretty incredible, really, isn't it, when you think about it. I mean,
0.21. Almost 2/10. Not even.
Yeah.
1.99.
Like Monaco was absolutely amazing qualifying. This weekend as well, this race that we've just had in Canada, that was brilliant qualifying.
We had Verstappen and Russell setting the exact same time at Spain, eh?
Yes.
And like on the thousands.
Russell set the time first, I think, didn't he? So he got
the other way around.
Oh, the other way around was it, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's really close, really competitive. It's amazing. It would be great if they could find a way to keep that sort of performance gap in the racing. But obviously, the thing is, they're going to qualify in with the car really set up for the race, don't they? I think the only exception to that would be like Monaco
and races are too long for that, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We still, if you look at Canada, I mean, the difference between, I think, Max, George Russell, and let me quickly check, Kimmy wasn't that big, was a second between the 3 of them, I think, something like that in the end.
Well, they finished the race.
So they finished the race at 0.2,
yeah, but they finished
1.0.
car, didn't they? So.
That is, of course, true, yes. So that doesn't make much sense. But I think generally the difference is, okay, Spain was really close if you don't count the McLarens.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, yeah, they do get some close racing, but the qualifying in particular, like, that can be edgy of your seat stuff, especially if you're very invested in one particular driver getting pole or whatever. Is like Graeme just said, any one of probably 5 teams is capable of doing it, depending on the circumstances of the qualifying session. So it is
hard to predict, except you got the last predictions spot on. So
yeah,
which is weird. We're 1/3 into the season now, approximately, and I wanted to do a quick questionnaire of hot or not on drivers. So now we're at a 3-person. I'm not going to be involved in this one. So starting with Homer. starting with Graeme. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to send you a name. You're going to say hot or not and try to summarize really quickly why you think it's hot or not. And James, we're going to actually interfere, so it's a set opinion. And afterwards, you go to you. You do one. Yeah?
All right.
Okay, let's start with Graeme. Hot or not? George Russell, Graeme.
Not. Good start, a good race at Canada, but he's a solid guy, but he's not an exciting driver. He's never going to be the guy that wins a title. It's a bit boring. I don't like the way he jostles with the rules all the time, but not for me.
That's sort of like on a good note. This is going to be a popular opinion from you, James. James.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen.
Hot. When is Max Verstappen not hot? Just to clarify, we're talking about his race performance.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much always on form. I think that, well, the only time he's not really performed very well this season so far was China, down to the car. Spain, bad luck for him. But in general, he just puts in the best result he possibly can, pretty much like every race. There's always one or two exceptions with Max if he gets a bit too heated, and that happens from time to time. He lets frustration get the better of him, but overall, yeah, fantastic.
Hot or not? Oscar Piastri, Graeme. Going to give you one as well.
He's hot now, red hot, absolute on fire, cool, calm, collected. I think he's just going to pretty much sail into the title. Don't think he's going to have much problems at all. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the vast majority of the next coming races.
Look forward to seeing that. I'm not going to mention this. I'm going to be involved in this discussion. James, his teammate Lando Norris, hot or not?
Not overall. I think I've got to say he's had some sort of buckling under pressure situations already this year. Obviously, what happened in Canada was just not good at all. Bit of a misjudgment, I suppose, but in general, he is not extracting the performance out of the McLaren the way that Piastri is. Piastri's jumped to another level this year, and Lando's a little bit flustered by that, I think, and he just seems to be struggling. And I want to see him turn it around, just to be clear on that. But at the moment, I would have to say not. He's not having a great run at the moment, unfortunately.
The thing is, he has the talent. You can see it in Spain.
He does, 100%. That's why I want to see him turn it around, because he's capable.
Except going on the inside, but you can't go on the inside. Hot or not? Graeme, Charles Leclerc.
Not
going to be all that easy for you, mate.
I'll go hot. He has shown that he's got the pace himself. His quality lap at Monaco was outstanding. Just for Norris to just find that tiny margin to be even better. But if the car clicks, I'd say he's the one out of the two of the Ferrari drivers that would get the most out at the moment.
James, you know where I'm going. Lewis Hamilton.
Not, I'm afraid. I hate to say it and I hate to see it, but he's just...
I was wondering if I should put the question to you, but I was like, I have to do this.
Yeah, no, it's fair, and I'll be honest with it. I'm a fan of Hamilton, but I can see that he's not doing very well at the moment, and you can't pretend like he is. He's having a rough time. He's not getting the performance out of the car the way that Charles is. I suppose he's had like a couple of, not even races, like stints in races where he's kind of looked on it and looked either on pace with Charles or faster. But overall, I'd say not. I mean, the championship results and the recent race results show that. Highlight so far is the sprint race in China. That's it. He's not He's just struggling.
Yeah. Also unlucky, I have to admit that as well.
He has had some bad luck. Yeah. That seems to have been.
Well, you put yourself in a position to get influenced by bad luck as well.
Well, yeah, there is an element of that, but yeah, he's had a very bad run of not just race results this season, but like 3 seasons of not being good for him at all, and in some ways it's kind of damaging his legacy after how dominant he's been.
It never happens with a world champion that goes to Ferrari at all. Let's not go there. All right, Graeme. Kimmy Antonelli.
He's hot now, isn't he? His first podium. He's been consistently doing pretty well. I can only see upsides with Kimmy. That can't see anything negative about him. Cool, calm, fast. Future's only bright for Kimmy, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does really well this weekend.
Yeah, I think he's also a generational talent, I suppose. We'll hope to see more from him. James, going to give you a fun one. Alex Albon. I say fun, I didn't say easy.
Yeah, because he's right now not. I think you got to say not. He didn't have a great race in Canada. Didn't have a great qualifying. He was quite argumentative at times. Yeah, he's
got 42 points in the Williams.
He's having a good season, but if we're talking about how he's doing at the moment, I think he's had a good run and now he's kind of dropped off. So I've got to say not at the moment, just based on recent results. I think he's had a good start. He needs to get back onto the form he was on at the beginning of the season. I think maybe there might be an element of the Williams car getting outdeveloped now. This started with a strong car and it's maybe slipping back a little bit in performance as others catch up or overtake. But at the same time, he's still not really like Canada was just the weekend to forget for him, really, wasn't it?
Graeme, number 9 in the World Championship currently, Esteban Ocon.
Can we say lukewarm?
No.
You'd probably have to just say hot at the moment, but it's a flip of a coin, really, because he's doing great for a mid-teamer. He's in top 10, but likewise, he could equally be the bottom half. So hot at the moment, but could easily be not.
Yeah, I do think they have a couple of strategy calls where I'm like, okay, this is a good trial, and then he does well. I think the Haas generally isn't all that bad that we made it out to be. At least I like put in my own words. I said it would be really poor and dead last. Well, it definitely isn't. So taking the most out of it. James, Isaac Hajjar, the one we discussed the most at race 1.
He can't say anything other than hot for him. I know
worst debut ever, but
yeah, but he's been fantastic, and I know he didn't get he just didn't do very well at all in Canada, but his season and up until Canada has been too good to say that he's not hot just because of Canada, which I know is kind of a little bit different to what I was saying about Albon when I was judging him more on Canada maybe, but Hajjar is just he is. I'm very surprised, personally. I didn't expect him to perform the way he's performed throughout this season, and I think Red Bull are probably quite happy and breathing a sigh of relief that they have a talent like him lying in wait effectively, because he is a very good driver, and I just hope they don't ruin him by like trying to throw him into the Red Bull too soon or anything like that, which is Red Bull's form. But yeah,
Graeme, Nico Hulkenberg,
hot at the moment, red hot at the moment. That kick Sauber was terrible bottom, and with the new upgrades, he is absolutely having the best time. Points, taking it from dead last to mid-table's been absolute nothing but red hot form for him.
Yeah, amazing season. Going to do well at Audi, right?
Here's hoping. Audi have been very dismissive or downplaying their chances and their hopes. So if this development stage now can kick on a little bit better, then you're going to hope that they're going to do a lot better than what Sauber has recently.
That's true. I'm gonna give a popular one to James. Lance Stroll.
He's ice cold.
Enough said about Lance Stroll.
Well, yeah. Not
Done,
hot.
toasted. Bye-bye. See ya. Had a great race at Canada, though.
Did he?
No, but I'm just trying to give him some mood.
Yeah,
Graeme, a little bit more controversial then. Carlos Sainz for you.
Same as
And
Ocon.
lukewarm isn't an answer. Sorry.
I'd probably say not. It's not the worst season, but he's not been amazing either.
13 points, 42 for Albon.
So Albon's outperforming him. He's the ex-Ferrari guy, coming from the big team. That it's not been. Everybody expected him to be the better, the pairing, and it's just not really came off for him at all. Especially when the car was so good at the start of the season, and like James said, development catch up, the sort of tailing it off, and it's just not really happened at all.
James, I'm going to do some switcheroos for you because I know you're going to love this one. Fernando Alonso.
I knew it was going to be Alonso. I knew you was going to say Alonso. This is a tough one because he's had a couple of good races now. He's finally started to score some points. I'm going to say right now he's hot. He's finding his form again, and he's getting some points, and he's complaining on the radio, but he's getting his work done, isn't he? So I'd say hot.
I've had James said live on this show, Fernando Alonso is hot.
You have.
I did it, too. I did, Graeme. It worked. Finally. Graeme, I'm going to have to give you the one that was on James' list. Pierre Gasly.
Pierre Gasly. I'd say not. Again, just another season where could have been a lot better for him, and it's just not really happening. The Alpine's not that great either at the moment, so I'd say not.
I think that's fair. James, you're going to love this one as well. Sorry, mate.
Colapinto.
Colapinto, yes.
I could see where you're going every question now.
What's for the next one, though?
Colapinto. No, he's not. He had a fairly decent result in Canada, given the car. I mean, he outperformed Gasly, but
No points, though.
no points. Rough start in that Alpine. Same as I just said about Albon. He's not hot at the moment, but he has the potential to be, and I'd like to see him turn it around. So, yeah, unfortunately, I've got to say no. But yeah,
Another rookie for Graeme. Bortoletto.
Considered compared to the rest of the rookies, yeah, he's not in the same type of cars the rest of them. But no, just even with the upgrades, Hulkenberg showing how good the car can be, and he's not doing much at all, is he? Consistent back marker, not at all.
No, I'm afraid so. What about Behrman, James?
Behrman he's more hit and miss than any other driver on the grid at the moment for me.
That's not the answer to the question, though.
No, he has some races where it's like, wow, that's a fantastic result for him in the Haas. And then he has other races where it's like, he's binned it in qualifying again, or he's binned it in practice again. I think I've got to say not. I think he's too inconsistent in Formula One at the moment. the start of the season for me to give any other answer than not.
Yeah, this one has got to go to Graeme.
Ciao,
I'm sorry.
anyway.
Graeme, Liam Lawson.
Not. Just his terrible season. Oh, and both cars. He's picked up a little bit, but just not. Season's just been terrible. I wouldn't be surprised if he was gone. His contract's up at the end of the season. Avril Limbald's got his super license. He's testing with the older cars. Could see him gone at the end of the season as well.
I know I'm not supposed to comment on Graham's pick, but also almost every time there is some sort of collision, it seems to involve Lawson.
Yeah, someone messaged me last week. He said that he's got a great haircut, but probably an awful eyesight.
Yeah. It's better now than it was when it was like completely slicked back and he looked like the bad guy from Harry Potter.
At least he's honest when he crashes, though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I would blame someone else as well. Which I have to give Lando credit for this weekend, by the way. When it happened, he immediately said I was a wrong estimate from myself. I'm so sorry for everyone. It's my bad. So well done there. Not the move, but the response to that was really good. Jack Doohan was on my list, but of course that one didn't make the cut. And I can say pretty sure that was a not.
Yeah.
So I'm having one left, and that I say for you, James. Yuki Tsunoda.
In the Alpine.
I see Graeme laughing like, I wanted to have that one.
Now I'm glad James has got it.
In the Racing Bull, hot. In the Red Bull, no. He's just, he was having a great start to the season. And then...
Is it the pressure? Is it the car? What do you think?
The car. It's 100% the car. The problem, I think, I don't think it's pressure, personally. I don't think Yuki, I don't think he struggles under pressure too much, and I think he's confident enough to hop into pretty much any car and think that he's going to do well. I think the problem is that Red Bull isn't a great car. Max has a way of driving it because Max is an incredible driver that is generational talent. Yuki is not, and he's suffering the same problem that we have seen from pretty much every Red Bull number 2 driver since Pierre Gasly. It's just that it's slowly been getting worse for the number 2 driver since then.
Or is the rest getting better?
The rest could be getting better. Yeah.
I think when there's like 8 tenths between number 1 and number 12.
That's what I was going to say. Like the gaps are so tight now that if you can't extract the maximum out of a car, it's going to look really, really bad, and that's what's happening for poor old Yuki Tsunoda.
I saw the difference between Max and, for example, Checo was like 5 tenths, generally speaking, in qualifying, but that meant 1st and 6th.
Yeah.
Now 5 tenths means 1st and 10th.
10 times, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And he doesn't even make 10th usually. So
Checo will be extremely happy as he's sat there drinking his year supply of Red Bulls. He'll be quite happy in the knowledge that it wasn't him.
I think it's also him, though. Also, you can make some mistakes.
I do as well think that it is partly him, but he's probably looking at this year thinking, this looks good for me because
that is true.
They can't find anybody to drive that Red Bull other than Max.
Predictions times. We go into Austria, and let's see if I can hit the right button this time. I think I do. I think I just did. Austria, one of my favorite tracks, but one of my worst tracks in the prediction score, because I don't think I've ever scored a point at Austria for the prediction, James. And because we're now at 3-man today, it's the current standing is 10-5 for me, but it was 10-0, so you're getting back into that. You're clawing your way back, just like Max Verstappen and Mercedes are towards McLaren, I think. So it might get exciting. Going to ask Graeme's prediction as well. Let's see just what it does with the scores, and then maybe we should correct it somewhere. Also, All right. So let's start with the pole position from James. Who's going to get pole position in Austria, James?
Piastri.
Graeme, pole position in Austria.
Piastri.
I'm going to say Max.
I knew you would, and it's a good shout because Max is fantastic there as well.
Just because I don't want to go Piastri either. I think it could go either way. This is just as much prediction these days as this is the DNFs. Because it's so random.
It's getting that way, yeah.
Who's going to win it, though, James?
I'm going to go with Piastri for the win as well. If he gets pole, he'll win it. That's my opinion on that.
And Graeme?
I did think about Max for pole. It's a tough one because I want to say Piastri, but I reckon there's a good chance Max could win it. I'll go Max.
Yeah, I'm going to. Could this be the week where Lando fights his way back?
Nope.
I'm going to say Lando wins this one.
All right, yeah.
Because I don't think, especially when it's that hot, that Red Bull will eat their tires up alive. And it's looking to be really hot again. And I don't see the McLaren. Like, I can see Max getting pole and see Max fighting. But last year, at the end, they fought as well. And Red Bull just ate through the tires and couldn't hold the McLaren back properly. And we had a huge fight as well between Lando and Max, I think.
Yeah.
And I can see this year looking a little bit different because I think the difference is a little bit too big.
Last year they collided, didn't they? And I think Lando ended up DNFing and Max got a penalty, didn't he? 10-second penalty or something.
So that was a big fight up into turn 1 again. Or turn 3, actually.
It was turn 3 was where the action was. I mean, turn 2 doesn't really exist, does it? But there is technically that little turn on the straight up the hill.
Oh, it exists, but it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's going to be the first DNF, James.
I need a magic 8 ball for this, I think. Yeah.
Is that a hint? You want a magic 8 ball? Or do you want to?
Who do I want to go with?
Don't these guys say the 8 ball? I don't have one, but they don't say just yes or no? You can't say that. We're going to furnace DNF and yes.
I'm going to get one custom made on Etsy or something. A magic 8 ball with all the drivers' names on it. And then I'll just shake it and whatever I get. I'll say Lance Stroll.
Oh, all right. How often does Stroll actually get the first DNF? We always mention him, but I don't think he gets it, actually.
Yeah, he's had it once or twice. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't pick, so...
So I think McLaren's power units have been bad, so I'm inclined to think the McLaren will fail. I'll go Carlos Sainz.
Could very much be. I'm going to say, I wanted to say Piastri, but I can't. I just can't do it. I am going to go for Gasly. Yeah, he's going to be stuck in the middle of the pack, getting up the turn and just, I don't know, get hit again or something.
Yeah.
Probably by Bortoleto or Colapinto.
Anything can
or
happen.
Lawson, actually, and then Lawson can blame him.
Yeah, anything can happen first corner from like 5th place back, usually.
Yeah,
so.
It's tight there, eh?
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to that, though. But also something I'm very much looking forward to is seeing some reviews on Apple Podcast and or /Spotify. Just tap them in. Just click on the button, leave us a remark. And something we have added now, thanks to our friends at Spotify, is you can now not only drop comments on your Spotify show. So if you're listening to on Spotify, you can just say, hey, that was a good show, or this is my predictions. And we can actually respond to that now directly on the app as well. So that's pretty cool. So leave us a comment as well on Spotify along with your 5-star review, because that will help us out tremendously. Graeme, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having us.
Continue that. Next wear, just don't wear orange, but everything else went just fine. Which is weird saying from that's like you're wearing the bad orange. This weekend you'll see the proper orange on the stands, I think.
Good possibility.
I'm just kidding. James, not wearing red today. You're wearing red this weekend?
I'm beginning to give up on red.
Well, so does Ferrari, because they've been wearing more white this year than they have been wearing red, honestly.
White looks good, though. I like it.
Better than
Not
yellow.
on Ferrari. Not on Ferrari. Just needs to be red. But it's much saying that the yellow Ferrari wins the Le Mans.
Yeah.
Says enough. Thanks so much, guys. See you next week after Austria, and enjoy. Bye bye.
Yep. See you later.
So